First of all, what I want to do, though, I want to congratulate and thank John Dunn and the coaching staff for the great job that they did with this class and putting together. And the recruiting, it's just not a 2-month process. I mean, this is more than a year process that we were involved with these players, and feel very, very good about the group that we have coming in. One of the main things that we talked about is the fact that we really wanted to try to make inroads here in Maryland, D.C., Pennsylvania, and Virginia, in the areas that we felt that we needed to be strong in order to be who we want to be. And when you see that between Maryland and D.C. we have 11 players, 5 from Pennsylvania, 1 from Virginia, I think we're well on our path to doing the things that we want to do from a recruiting standpoint and keeping the talent that fits into what we're doing, here at Maryland. So very excited about that. Very excited about this group of players from the standpoint that the athletic ability that they possess, and then to the productivity that you see on the field when you have over 20 of these players that are all state performers, some All-Americans, Player of the Year. To me, it's very, very impressive. But then when you take a look at 21 out of 24 were team captains for their teams. That's something that is what we look for with that leadership. And then when you have the ability to go out and see them and talk to their coaches, and you know that they come from good programs. That was the other thing. The number of winning programs that these players came from is impressive. To make the inroads into some of the places that are perennial powers and produce players year in and year out, in terms of Gilman, Good Counsel, Friendship Collegiate, got a chance to get back out into Frederick, Maryland. So again, all those things are encompassed, in this class. So we feel very, very good about it. And you take a look at 14 of them were here at our camp, this past summer. So we had a chance to be around them and to see them and to see firsthand, the talents that each of these young men possessed. And the thing that really stood out to me with this group, this fact, is when you go out and you sit down with these players, you see the personality that they have. You see the confidence they have, and they wanted to be part of something special. They wanted to come here and make a difference. And when they came in, a lot of them together on the recruiting visit, you could just see that bond developing, and that camaraderie already started. And to have some of them here already, Quentin and Isaac and Laverne, having them here already on campus, and them getting started and getting a jump, it's exciting for us as well. So, all in all, like I said, very, very impressed. And the running backs, in some circles is ranked as the #2 best running back group in the country. Quarterbacks ranked number 11. So I think those are things that are special. And again, 12 on offense, 12 on defense. I thought you can't get everything that you want in every year, but the things that we needed to get, we were able to get. So very, very pleased and very happy with this group of players that are going to be some enrolled already, and the rest who will be coming here in August.
No questions?
Randy, you spoke about making inroads in these local areas. Do you see this class as the start of strong local classes in the years to come?
I would hope so. I mean, I think this class is really the class that sets in motion, the things that we want to do. And again, one of the statements that I made when I got here was that we wanted to keep the local talent here at Maryland. And again, I think we're on the right track with what we've done this year. And again, getting into the some of the schools that we've gotten young men from. There's going to be players there every year. Then it's up to those guys to help us recruit, their previous teammates to come here, so you can keep that, pipeline going.
Hey, Coach, how big was the Westboro commitment during the Under Armour game? I had to have 2 Under Armour All-Americans this year, the first ever round.
Yeah, I think that's important too. That's great publicity, because when Wes was down there at the Under Armour game and decided that he was going to come to Maryland, I mean, that's national publicity, and other recruits and future recruits can see that hey, Maryland's a player, and to have Mike and Wes in that game, and the first time any Maryland commits have played in that game, was impressive. But again, that's publicity that you have to pay big money to get that kind of airtime on a national stage like that. So we're hoping that we can have that happen, each and every year.
Randy, the coaches, you guys have all your own relationships throughout the region, but I was wondering what the addition of Mike Loxley meant for you guys in the final month or so. What impact did you see?
Well, I think the thing there, this whole recruiting is a team effort. It's just not one guy. Mike came in and had relationships and has tied and aided us in terms of where we were, in the recruiting process. We were pretty far along with a lot of these kids, and then again, his influence with a couple helped. But again, it was just a team effort. But going forward, I think that that impact down in the areas where he's going to recruit will even, because he'll be able to establish those relationships. But again, coming in, he aided us in terms of the process that was already started.
Randy, you touched on it a little at the beginning with John Dunn. How impressive is the guy in his first year as a recruiting coordinator to sort of hold the class together with, when the season's not going that well, and then pull, help pull it together at the end?
Well, John did a tremendous job, and John is very organized. He's a good evaluator of talent. He's a good manager of people in terms of making sure that we've got the coaches going to the right places, scheduling me to go at the right time to see the players that I need to see, and then also to coordinate all the things that go into the junior days, the campus visits, the mailings and everything else. He just did a terrific job, and I know he's already got some things, thinking ahead in terms of what we can do better, because we're not satisfied with where we're at. We just want to get better. But John just did a great job, and the coaches followed his lead, and that's why we were able to do the work that we were able to do under John's guidance and leadership.
Coach, without any interior line in the class, how big a concern is that if you have the plans this spring to add everybody possibly after recruiting to help fill that hole?
Well, you never stop recruiting. You're always recruiting, and again, we went after the people that we felt could make an impact in our program. And what we'll do is we'll continue to assess to see if there is somebody who could help us become better. But we do have a lot of returning guys coming back. But again, we'll see how all that plays out as we continue to go through the spring, and the summer, and see what happens.
Coach, how strong of a class do you think this is, given last season's turmoil, the 2-10 record, and the loss of 2 coordinators during the offseason?
I just think it just shows that it's about relationships and people believing in what we're doing here. I think I read something today from the Washington Times. I mean, you just talk to the players, talk to the recruits. You see what they're saying. They all believe in what we're doing, and I think that says it all. You don't worry about what happened last year. You just focus and say, here's your plan, here's the vision, here's what we're going to accomplish as we go forward. And I just wish everybody was as optimistic and as positive as all these recruits that we signed today. And because I think that's, you see that they see the vision, they see the direction, and they want to be a part of it, and they want to be difference makers. And that to me is the great thing about being around this group of players.
Coach, you talked about getting into the schools that have talent every year. Nobody has more talent than Good Counsel or Gilman. Maryland has struggled to get the top prospects from Good Counsel. They've gotten some, but they haven't been the top guys. This year, Medeiros and Brown are Under Armour All-Americans. Gilman, it's the first kid since Mark Aitken in 1980. Gilman's a school that really Maryland struggled to get. Can you talk about those two in particular and how important they are to build relationships with those two schools?
Well, those schools, history tells us that they have good players each and every year, and they have players that go on to BCS schools. So, that was something that we wanted to make sure that we were going to be a part of. And again, keeping that talent here at home. And both those schools, Biff and his staff do a great job coaching, mentoring, and developing those players. And the same with Bob Malloy and his staff in terms of what they do. And the job that Andre Powell did with with Kenny, and then the job that Tom Bratton did with Mike Medeiros, and then also in kind of a little bit of a group effort, with Wes, and then with Mike, coming on board, Loxley. We tried to use all of our resources to gain a foothold into those programs, and we want to do it. And it's big, it's huge, because again, as I said, we've already told Kenny he's got to start recruiting those juniors, and he's already done it. And the same thing with, with Wes and Mike. They've got to start recruiting those juniors at Good Counsel that we're looking at. So, and again, sometimes that's all it takes is to get one guy, Albert Reed. Albert's got to start recruiting all those young players from Friendship to come here, because those schools are going to have players each and every year. And again, I think that is big. I think you can't underestimate the fact that the quality of those players that are coming from Good Counsel and Gilman. Kenny Goins might be one of the most well-respected players and people, at Gilman. Those Biff and Bill McGregor and Chris Basha and Keith Cormanick and Hank Russell, those guys just all raved, about Kenny. And, that's the thing I like about this group. They're football players. They love to play the game, and they love to have fun doing it. And they want to be leaders. They're not afraid to step out and take the lead.
Coach, the four-star running backs, what really jumped off the tape about Brown, about Reed? What kind of, what makes them special?
Well, I can still remember a day last summer here at in Bird Stadium when we were doing our passing camp, and Wes was here with his team from Good Counsel competing that day, and you could see the things on tape that you really liked and everything else, but one of the things that really stood out in my mind is one particular play where he came out of the backfield and went down the seam and caught the ball, just snagged it right out of the air and just boom, accelerated and took off. I think, he's a big back, he's powerful. He's a guy who can catch the ball out of the backfield. He can run by people, he can run over people. He possesses a lot of qualities that you really like, in a running back. And then Albert, Albert's a little bit more shiftier. He gives you, a little bit more outside, and he can make people miss, and again, and can catch the ball out of the backfield. So both those guys, you've seen them, and they compete. They're great competitors.
With Isaac, can you kind of go through how you came across him? And I know Maryland in the past hasn't really taken a lot of coaches, what's your kind of stance on junior college players, and how do you see that in the future, and just the overall, Isaac in particular?
Well, we were, as we were going through the season, and again, it's every day is a constant evaluation. You're trying to find ways to make your team better, trying to do things. And we were sitting there, and as we talked about recruiting, just felt that I felt that we needed to get a corner, in here at mid-year because of where we were, and so we went out and we took a look at a couple guys, but some couldn't get in because of grades. But then when I had a chance to, Lee Hall knew the coach at Isaac's school, and we got in touch, and then we got his transcript, and a very good student coming out of there, and then when he had a chance to watch him on tape, it was very, very impressive on tape, and he'll get up in your face, and he uses press technique very well, uses his hands, understands the game, intelligent. But then one of the big things that impressed me, he wasn't afraid to hit either. A lot of times those guys that think they're cover corners, they don't want to hit. But he's got some toughness to him. He'll come up and hit you. But the thing that really impressed me was his ball skills in terms of watching him play the deep ball on the tape. Gets his head around, finds the ball. He was a wide receiver before, so just his overall skills, and then his athletic ability, and then his personality. When we had a chance to bring him in on an official visit and sit down with him, just love everything he's doing. And now he's getting his feet wet with what this is all about in terms of our workout program, and settling in very, very well. I don't have a problem recruiting junior colleges. Excuse me, recruiting junior colleges. The biggest problem we have with junior colleges is the academics in terms of being able to transfer enough degree applicable credits into a degree program. That's the thing that we have to do. I mean, we're not going to take phys ed and all those things. So junior colleges, I have no problem recruiting those. It's just that it's like anything, we have to take the right kids, because again, academically, they got to be able to come in and transfer so many degree credits in here to be eligible, and that's why it's a very thorough process, for us. But no, we'll recruit the junior colleges, but it's just that if somebody goes to a junior college, then we're better off if we place them to say, hey, here's the courses that you have to take in order to, regain admission to the University of Maryland. So there was a lot of guys that we looked at, but a lot of them went by the wayside because of the curriculum that they were taking at that particular junior college doesn't match up with what the standards are at Maryland.
Coach, I'm breaking down the quarterbacks. I know you're a big camp guy, but to have a guy like Caleb come in with that offers you all for the first, and for him to be the MVP of the offense, defense, all American. Talk about camp evaluations, sticking to your guns, offering a guy like that, and then just a combination of him and Perry to kind of look like a Danny and CJ all over again type combination.
Well, what we did, we made the decision, and again, I'm a firm believer that at that position, the quarterback position, that you really need to see them in person because of, to me, how important that position is. So we made the decision last year that we told all the quarterbacks that we were looking at, and I think there ended up being about 7, that we said, hey, we want to see you in camp. We tried to get them all in at the same time so we could evaluate them all, at the same time. Well, because of their schedules and things, we weren't able to get them in at the same time. So some guys came in at, different, but a lot of the guys came in at the same time. And all we did, we evaluated it. And we had, Perry here, and, we liked him, and we offered him. And again, I think, the one thing you'll see about Perry, Coach Terry Totten at Pittsburgh Central Catholic's great coach, does a great job. He's one of those guys that doesn't throw the ball a whole bunch. But I think people saw what Perry could do when he was here at the Chesapeake Bowl, not only with throwing the ball, but also his speed. But he can throw it. We had him here. We were able to see that. we were able to see how he, handles himself and how he conducts himself. And then Caleb came in, did the same thing. Caleb came here from about 5 other camps. I think his arm was hanging, but he did a great job. He's a great leader. He can throw the ball. And then again, I just think what happens is, and that's why in recruiting, the only evaluation that matters is our evaluation. All these other evaluations on the outside really don't mean anything to me or to our staff. And I think you just take a look at that position. Here's 2 players that maybe weren't highly rated, but when they were given their opportunities to go to the All-Star games, they both shined, and then they both, had those characteristics and have that charisma that it takes, to play that position. A guy like Perry, Perry's 24-0 right now in wrestling, and that's a different combination, a quarterback and a wrestler. And Caleb is a football junkie, and you just get guys that have personalities that you just love to be around.
Brandon, you touched on this.